Justin Deering here. So I'm going to respond to basically two YouTube videos and reference one. So two of them. One of them was a pathless pedaled video where they talked about a new larger Derailer. I think it was like 11, 11 gear cassette. It went from 11 to like I don't know what the bigger one was, but it was there were 11 gears on the cassette. Saying it was kind of like the consumer doesn't need these larger cassettes, and also talking about. I want to talk a little about brakes. I want to talk about and some of the stuff that was said by the bike farmers. Kind of like you got a top 10 rant video, and also I want to reference the GCN video about this new sprocket where they have this new front crank set where the top is, I think it's a 53 and a 34, so the crank is like really big, to the point where I guess like even like a professional biker is like on their like 11th gear like rear set. They're on like gear 7 of that normally, and they're only using all the way down to the smallest little sprocket on the back, when they're doing an attack on like a downhill, right? So I want to talk about this from the perspective of quote unquote a normal biker. So a little about me. I guess I've been biking for about 2 years. Last August I did kind of go over the handlebars and was in the ICU for 5 days, not doing anything stupid or dangerous or whatever. I was actually I was 10 miles an hour coming to. I remember looking down on my bike computer or my phone. I don't have a separate bike computer. Seeing it said 10 miles an hour. I remember stop sign coming up, and I'm gonna hit the brakes. And I hit the brakes at a very normal level. I think I just hit a pothole or something. I remember like just going over the handlebars, and I just felt like really bad for what for the speed it was, and like the bike was fine, and I broke my clavicle and 7 ribs in the ICU for 5 days, and other than that, like I whatever I got. So that was August, and then by the time it was better, it's kind of winter, and I've been back and doing whatever. I think maybe my normal speed in like land is between like 13 to 15 miles an hour over a long stretch. I don't get to do a lot of long rides, and I ride on the street. I don't go to bike paths, so I tend to take I try to get in like at least 2 mile rides a day, but sometimes I will wake up 4 a.m. and take a 20-mile round trip bike ride from my house in Cranford all the way to the Quick Check in Woodbridge, New Jersey, by kind of like not too far from the train station and back. I've done that like once or twice. Sometimes I try to get like 10-mile rides out during the week, at least once a week. But I got to travel around with a lot of stop signs and stuff like that. But I'm doing stuff. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to work on my downhill speed. I think my slight downhill speed when I'm not like just like free falling, hitting the brakes. When it's pedaling, I can get myself up to like 25 miles an hour. That's when I get scared. And I know I have to like work on that. I think at 24 once. I don't know if I ever hit 25. But I'm at Strava, and I'm a weenie that like snipes local segments and stuff like that. That's who I am. But I also like try to take my bike to the dojo. I try to take it to like light grocery trips, stuff like that. I ride a Cirrus X 2.0. So that's a little about me, right? So yeah, I'm like kind of like an average biker who like takes myself, maybe a little too seriously, but I'm also just like a guy with like a $500 bike, right? So I'm going to talk about a few of these things. So like larger derailers, I think they're good. So his argument this was like, manufactured consumption, like to drive demand that people don't need. And I think you don't need to like be constantly upgrading your derailers. But I think I grew up. I had a 5-speed bike, and shifting was hard. Friction shifting was hard. I'm sure like the shifters on like what the people in the Tour de France, even though they were like shifting like on the frame with their road bikes or whatever, I'm sure those shifters worked a little smoother. But I'm sorry, going from friction to index shifting, absolutely a good thing. Anyone that says, "Oh, well, index shifting is," I mean, look, you like an old bike, that's with you, but I'm sorry, index shifting is so much better. Using the new index shifters where I can go down 2 gears, not lose my, in one thing, not lose my chain. That is so much better. I can be so much faster. And it's practical speed, right? I'm just making it. I'm going from a stop sign. I'm making a left turn or whatever, and there's like a slight uphill, and I can go down 2 gears, and I can, get some speed up. And maybe like that hill is fine for me, like when I'm just doing this for fun. But then all of a sudden, I'm dropping off my compost in my front basket, right? And all of a sudden, that's the thing where I'm gonna have to if I don't downshift fast enough, I'm gonna stop because I'm kind of not the strongest biker or whatever, right? Right. So the all the shifter and having more gears when you're a normal guy trying to get up whatever the biggest hill is for you, like the longer you can stay in that higher gear and the longer you have and the more you can go, that's better. So I'm not saying like constantly upgrade your derailleur or whatever, but yeah, when absolutely me being biking for 2 years, I would absolutely recommend anyone, like if they're between a you know 8 gear and a 7 and 8 speed, get the 8 speed. And I would absolutely say if you're something in your budget like you can afford 11 gears in the back is good. Even this is like still like with the racer they're using. Like apparently there's the new crankset where the front crank has like 53 gears, and then like even like a racer like them when they're going on level ground like on the Peloton they're just in like seventh gear in the back of their like 11th gears on the back, right? And they have like a 53 and a 34, and 34 is only when they like have to go up the high hill when they really need to really crank it uphill or whatever. But they're only going like on that gear and going down first when they're going downhill. That's even like so actually like 10 years ago I bought a Huffy, and I did say to myself like there should why can I not get a bike with a derailleur where like I literally on level ground cannot start the bike on low gear. Like, what if I just want that extra speed in the downhill, right? Like, I would be able to go so much faster because actually part of my, and even one of my struggles with fear going downhill is I have to, like, once I'm in the point where, like, and I pedal and it's doing nothing when I'm going downhill, like, I have, like, once I lose that where where the pedaling is not keeping up with the speed, I just cannot pedal anymore. My brain freezes. I'm just like I just have to cruise, like, and it's taking all my mental energy to like not like just like slowly tap on the brakes to get myself to the point where I can pedal again, right? So like to be able to but pedal a little faster on the downhill, right? And that's practical. Like if even from carrying groceries, right? Like I can just get there faster until I can, and until I'm going over the speed limit. If I'm on a road that's like 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, I can get myself downhill going 35 miles an hour downhill because I have the crank set, and that's getting me home faster, and that's compensating for the fact that I was struggling going uphill on the way there. Like that's a practical thing. Like that's me using my bike, going a little faster on that downhill, getting home a little faster, going to the grocery store on my lunch break. That is practical. And from a recreational point of view, just going a little faster. All this stuff is there comes a point where I don't think people like me should buy $10,000 bikes, right? Unless we just happen to make whatever 300,000 a year. We just have and no kids have disposable income and whatever. Obviously, and do whatever the hell you want. Buy your Porsche, buy your expensive bike, right? But average guy like me, yeah, I would not spend more than 2,000 would be the high end of a bike if I would spend. Like I think I would. My next bike would probably be like in the $1,000 range if I got like just a road bike with a frame, that I could turn into like a travel bike and haul some groceries or whatever. Like the only thing I would ever spend, I spend $5,000 on like a Dutch cargo bike where I can carry like a lot of grocery. That'd be my thing over there, right? But I absolutely do think these big cranksets, they're just making it easier even for me as the consumer. They're just like the latest generation of cars. I like driving stick shift. Okay, that's fun. I would love if I could go back to driving a Corolla, and yeah, I think like my next car, like my wife has the minivan, the hybrid. I would love like to just have one more like Corolla 5-speed or whatever. If I do happen to be forced to get another car, but I mean I would love to go carless or just be a single car family. But when I'm driving like when I'm driving my Toyota Highlander and I'm driving my Santa or whatever, I love these new 7-speed transmissions. I'm sorry, just give me that. Make it easier to shift and make it easier for these, make it easier for me to do like manual shifting on my bicycle. Make me, give me the all the great derailleur technology that makes it easier for me to shift, even as just a guy. Those are all useful, absolutely things. And I would absolutely, if I had an older bike and I was going to throw money at it, I would try to put the derailleur in. I mean, I can argue over like changing the mounting of the derailleurs where you have to buy a new frame because of that. I totally get that. But that's my thought on that. I'm going to disc brakes. So I will say this. So sometimes I drive my daughter's. She has a 20. So I have 700 millimeter wheels. I got like I'm 5'6" or whatever, right? And sometimes my daughter So she usually bikes to and from school, but sometimes she's not a morning person. Sometimes and she has to get up early for course, and I need her to bike home because I have a meeting later in the afternoon, right? So usually what I'll so on those days I will put on her 24-inch jet. I will put the seat way up, and I will bike to her school and walk, lower the bike seat for her and go back home, right? And her bike has disc brakes. It has rim brakes. Okay, it has rubber pads. I have disc brakes on my Specialized Series 2.0. Right, I'm riding her bike pretty hard because I got to get to there and I got to walk back and I got to get to my meetings or whatever. I got to make that like the shortest trip possible because that's work time. I'm working from home or whatever, right? Um, I think, and I'm not as fast on that bike as I am on my bike, right? But I'm ripping at 16, or sometimes I'm hitting 18 miles an hour. But I'm going. Sometimes I'm going into a stop sign where I'm hitting 15 miles an hour, and before I hit the brakes, and I'm telling you, at least at that speed, uh, you know, rim brakes are fine for me. I don't feel like disc brakes I stop faster, but like if I have to emergency stop on that brake, I don't feel like that's gonna ever like disc brakes are gonna like save my life, on a road situation. Mountain bikes, different story, right? And also I've had I just feel like the cost of disc brakes over rim brakes and the all the maintenance, the bleeding and whatever. So I did buy the bleeding kit. I had a brake fail on me where I had to replace the front brake, and luckily I didn't have to like run, deal with the fact that I have to like get the tube through the inside of the bikes. In tube being inside of the bikes, that's not a thing I've dealt with yet. But so I don't know if it's like really worth doing that. Like if for me for the Aero, I don't have an opinion on that one yet. I'll let you know when I try that. But replacing the front disc brake, sure, it's very simple to replace. But like that was like whatever $50 to replace the front brake just completely failed. Right, it locked up where it wouldn't open up. But you have the disc, right? You have the brake, and you have and what if you have to like go in the rear of the bike where I would have to like and that was actually a perfectly pre-bled brake on the front, and because in the front I didn't have to run it through anything. I just had to like basically clip it on, screw it on and clip it in. I didn't have to do any bleeding. I didn't have to take it apart, right? But if the rear in a rear brake situation where I have to run that wire through the frame, now let's say I figured out how to do that and that wasn't too bad or whatever. I'd have to take it apart. I'd have to put it back together. I'd have to bleed the brake system, right? Um, I think the quite frankly the it's not worth it for people like me. Maybe like when I'm going down big hills, which I don't go anymore because I only do that in group rides, and I don't do group rides anymore because I fell in a group ride and used their liability insurance, so I'm embarrassed to go back there. Um, but anyway, so I think maybe like the kid mountain bike setup where you have a rim brake in the back, disc brake in front. If you need a little more stopping power, that might make sense. But I don't feel like like road bikes and commuting bikes and whatever. Unless you're doing a little mountain biking, I feel like that is the thing I would actually put my foot down on and say like, yeah, you don't. It's a lot more complex, a lot more failure points, a lot more money, and a lot more maintenance than just use the just use the pads, right? The pads are good enough, right? They were I think 2018 last time someone won the Tour de France pads, so obviously you can go pretty fast with the pads, right? If they can do it, like I can do it. So that's my feeling on that. Um, and then I've not gone on an e-bike, but anyway, that's really my feeling. This is it. Which is a long way of saying that I think I'm very pro getting all the new Derailer technology. I do believe even for the end consumer, I do believe that's a thing, and I'm very like lukewarm on disc brakes. Finally, what did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the wheels. So I will say this: get the thinnest wheels you can. Suspensions you probably don't need. They seem to add a lot of weight, like the front fork suspension. The only time I really wish I had suspension is when I rode on cobbles in Jersey City. I rode in cobblestones, and then like it just hurt my arm. So like I do feel like I just would like want, um, you know, uh, cobbles on my arms just to stop like that arm, and it did hurt the next day, like riding a little bit on cobbles. So unless you're gonna ride like on a lot of cobbles, uh, then I totally, if you're gonna run gravel, get gravel tires, right? But like if you have like a hybrid bike, just put road tires in the bike. I went from 42s gravel tires to 38 slicks, and quite because I got them for free. I'm gonna like spend some money at some point on a wheel set, because if the wheel set can make me fast, if I can save, if supposedly that's the most amount of weight, and I've noticed, I've ridden several different, my wife's bike, my kid's bike, whatever, so I know, like, going from the 500 to the $2,000 range, that seems like in my budget, like, diminishing returns. If that buys me like 1 or 2 miles an hour max speed or whatever, point 0.5 mile an hour average over a ride, like that is that becomes a significant thing of me going a little farther and going. And as I get faster and as I build my fitness, like having those little advantages, sure, it's not going to win a race, but that gets me home faster. It gets me, I've got 30 minutes from, I just got off my call, I have 30 minutes to my next call. I can confidently, like, take a bike ride, be on time for my bike ride, go to a certain place, go pick up my kid, do whatever. That absolutely matters. So I will say that, yeah, spending money up to a point on wheels is good. And I do think, like, get the thinnest wheels, slickest wheels, like the fastest wheels if you're on road, unless you're doing gravel. I don't get the point of, like, I don't need the suspension. It doesn't hurt my ass anymore, or whatever, right? The only thing I would suggest, I would look to get, is, if I'm on cobbles, is getting the handlebar suspension. That's the only thing. Anyway, those are my opinions on things. And thanks for listening, and look forward to people's responses if they care to.